I was not free to want to make this a separate one. Van Wagen introduced this modified, lovely sounding version of the consequence argument in this millennia. So I thought it deserves a separate video. Or does it, given that free will doesn't exist? Yes, the name of the argument is a clickbait. PVI doesn't really name it so, but I am naming it so. It might sound controversial, especially for Indians, but let it be. The untouchability argument. There are facts that no human being can do anything about, and that no human being in history could ever have done anything about. Let us call these untouchable facts. According to Peter Van Inwagen, an untouchable proposition is a true proposition that is such that nothing that anyone is or ever has been able to do might have had the consequence that it is false. Let us call true propositions that no one can do anything about untouchable propositions. Some truths and facts are up to no one. For example, that human beings exist, that the Earth has a natural satellite, the Moon, that the presence of Mars changes the local curvature of space-time, the fact that magnets attract iron. It is an untouchable truth that 2 plus 2 equals 4, that there is no largest prime number, the fact that 317 is a prime number. All truths of mathematics are untouchable. No person can act in such a way that the true propositions of mathematics would be false. Instead, the truths of mathematics are for any person power necessary valid patterns of inference. It is an untouchable truth that the earth is spherical. It is an untouchable truth that the dinosaurs roamed the earth 100 million years ago. It's an untouchable truth that I've never seen a dinosaur and that Godse assassinated Gandhi. Consider these two statements of fact. It's an untouchable truth for me that I was born the way I was born in India to Malayali parents with that precise childhood and all the gene transcription, translation, replication, recombination, mutation, epigenetics, and so on and so on. That I had the precise upbringing and the precise moment by moment brain states, neurophysiology, neuropsychology, and in which surroundings, environment, culture, and circumstances that I was brought up in. These are all untouchable truths for me. Now contrast those facts with a different set of facts, facts that do seem like they're up to me. These are things that I can freely choose to make happen or freely choose to not make happen. These can be called touchable facts. For example, I chose to wear this t-shirt today. That seems like a fact that is up to me. A touchable truth. I decided to make a series of videos on free will. That also seems like a touchable truth that it was up to me. For instance, the proposition that the title of this video is untouchability argument is true, and that it was once up to me whether it would be true. If we believe that it was once up to me whether it would be true, we believe that because we believe I have free will. That it is or once was up to me what title the video would have. That I was able to give it any of the other appropriate titles other than the untouchability argument. But even though it seems like some facts are touchable for me, if determinism is true, those facts aren't actually up to me. They're untouchable facts. In fact, if determinism is true, despite appearances to the contrary, nothing is actually touchable because everything is determined by prior causes and microcauses, an interconnected web of causes, especially the ones happening in my brain, that are not up to me, and therefore untouchable. The past and the conjunction of laws of nature both are untouchable truths. And if determinism is true, every true proposition is an untouchable truth. And if every true proposition is an untouchable truth, we don't have free will. Consider these two statements of fact. Things were thus and so 100 million years ago. If things were thus and so 100 million years ago, then I am now making this video. The facts expressed by these two statements are both untouchable facts. No human being is able or has ever been able to do anything about the way the world was 100 million years ago. For the actual laws dictate that if at some point in time things are thus and so, then 100 million years later, I shall be recording this video and not driving, for example. Now, consider P0, state of the universe 100 million years ago. P0 is obviously an untouchable truth. For the same reason that dinosaurs died long before I was born is an untouchable truth. both are truths about the past and indeed truths about the pre-human past. Let us now examine the following argument. It is an untouchable truth that P0 is true. Let's call that P. Just like dinosaurs died long before I was born implies I have never seen a dinosaur, it is an untouchable truth that if P0 is true, then if L is true, Curiosity makes a video called the untouchability argument. Let's call that Q. Hence, it is an untouchable truth that since L is true, Curiosity makes a video called the untouchability argument. If P then Q, P therefore Q. Modus ponens. Since the cause of Q is untouchable, Q is itself untouchable. You didn't cause it, you couldn't control it, you couldn't stop it. Untouchable. The fact that I'm making this video right now was brought about by some previous cause, itself brought about by some previous cause, and so on until we get to, say, the state of the universe 100 million years ago when dinosaurs were there. Using Van Wagen's principle, we can see that every single step along the chain of causation, from the state of the universe 100 million years ago all the way up until now, is an untouchable fact, since whatever follows from the state of the universe 100 million years ago is also untouchable. Meaning that whatever follows from that will be untouchable, and anything that follows from that will be untouchable, and so on until you get to any action which you commit today, which, if determinism is true and there is this unbroken chain of causal necessity, must therefore also be untouchable. So if a belief in free will is just the belief that there exists some touchable facts, then if determinism is true, free will doesn't exist. All facts are ultimately untouchable. Now, I've intentionally kept the formal version of the argument for last so that if you want to, you can skip it. This is for those who would complain, "Oh, the cringy formal logic stuff again." But you have a good news. This one is not as formal as the consequence argument. The untouchability argument, as I would like to call it, is Van Wagen's fourth formulation of the consequence argument. As Van Wagen sees it, the following principles are necessary truths about untouchability. Alpha, the necessity rule. If P is a necessary truth, then P is untouchable. Beta, the conditional rule. If both P and if P then Q are untouchable, so too is Q. Also, as Van Wagen sees it, gamma. Determinism logically implies that if P is any true proposition, the whole truth about the intrinsic state of the universe at some arbitrary moment of the remote past, together with the whole truth about the laws of nature, logically implies P. Given alpha, beta, and gamma, Van Wagen argues, we may move from the premise that determinism is true to the conclusion that there is no free will. Van Wagen's path from the premise to the conclusion is the following. Suppose determinism is true, then by gamma we may conclude that where P0 is a true proposition, simply specifying the complete intrinsic state of the universe at some arbitrary moment of the remote past, and L is the conjunction into a single proposition of all the laws of nature, and P is an arbitrary truth. If P0 and L, then P is a necessary truth. Hence, by elementary logic, if P0, then if L, then P is a necessary truth. By alpha, all necessary truths are untouchable truths. So if P0, then if L, then P is an untouchable truth. In which case, by beta, if P0 is untouchable, then so is the conditional if L, then P. Beta says that if both the antecedent of a conditional and the conditional itself are untouchable, so too is the consequent of that conditional. 3 says that a certain conditional, if P0, then if L, then P, is untouchable. So given beta, assuming that the antecedent of that conditional P0 is untouchable, so too is its consequent. If L, then P. Premise 5, moreover, P0 is in fact untouchable. Hence the conditional if L, then P is untouchable. So by beta again, if L is untouchable, so is P. Premise 8, moreover, L is in fact untouchable. comes 9, so P is untouchable. Therefore, from 1 to 9, we know that if determinism is true, then every truth is untouchable. And if every truth is untouchable, then there is no such thing as free will. The necessity rule is valid, the conditional rule is valid. Hence, we may conclude that if determinism is true, then there is no such thing as free will. Now, interestingly enough, Van Davaken believes in free will because of the strong conviction of free will that he has. He says that free will is a mystery, he's a free will mysterian. So, although he says that if determinism is true, compatibilism is false, I think he also ends up saying that if determinism is empirically discovered to be true, he will accept compatibilism because of this strong intuition of free will that he has, which is actually an illusion and can be dispelled. And he's also a theist. God works in mysterious ways indeed. What are your thoughts on Peter Van Inwagen and the untouchability argument? I think it's untouchable. Anyway, comment down below. If you like the video, like the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, what's stopping you? Smash that subscribe button. You guys will see me with another argument soon. I've been Curiosity. You guys have been awesome. Stay tuned and stay curious.